Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maticus Valentine Cole, and welcome to another beautiful Q&A Monday. Alrighty guys. Alright, before we get started, I just want to make a quick announcement that this is going to be the last Q&A Monday. Oh, yeah. Um, I may bring it back. You never know. You never can tell what the future holds. But I'm trying to build a channel that generates, lots of interest and the people have given me lots of great compliments on uh, on the kind of channels that I'm doing and on the shows, things like that. It's always good. Um, Sadly, um, the level of interest that I've had in it is not been where I was hoping it would be. Besides, I don't know if I could do years of just giving my opinion because I like to know your opinion as well. And so I'm got some thoughts about what to do for the Monday segment from now on. And it's not to say I won't do another Q&A segment. If you guys have got a question, I'm going to be more than happy to answer them. But I just want to keep evolving. Okay. Um, so with that said, I want to go to the questions that people had for me for this last Q&A Monday. Okay. Now, um, the first question comes from the lovely Melissa at Poetic Temptation, and she asks, Matt, what are your three favorite albums and why? Well, it's an interesting question, and I'll just be honest. I really don't have three favorite albums. I'm actually more of a genre because I mean, literally, I love hundreds of albums, and I don't love or dislike any more or less than any others. So it's just one of those things. But if I were to name at least one album that always comes to mind, it has to be the Metallica Black Album. And Metallica has great music. I've been a fan of them for decades, and they very rarely disappoint. Sometimes I'm like, huh? But for the most part, they're just they are one of the most, in my opinion, one of the most important bands and influential bands to influence everyone who's ever picked up a guitar, you know. And so that is definitely one that is closest to my heart. And honestly, I really can't think of any others. There's a lot of albums that I really, really enjoy, but um, but to pick my top three, that's kind of a tall order. But definitely the Metallica Black Album for sure. Okay, it's a good question. Oh, and yeah, Enter Sandman, an iconic classic. Love, love, love that song. But you know what? Come to think of it, come to think of it, I'd also have to say Linkin Park, the Hybrid Theory album, absolutely fantastic, and that is most certainly worthy of being at least in my top 10. Is it one of my absolute favorite? I don't know, but it certainly also pops into mind. Um, well, let's see. And just not to be a total douchebag, if I had to come up with a third. There are some guilty pleasures, that is for sure. But I don't know. If I had to pick a third, which I don't know, I guess the criteria for this would be if I lost all of my music somewhere, you know, what which one would I just can't live without. And those would definitely be the two that I would pick up first. And also, honestly, I'm gonna get hate comments for this. I know, but it really is a toss up between um crap. It's a toss up really between Prince's Purple Rain album and Beastie Boys' License to Ill. Both I love absolutely equally, but for very different reasons. Prince, rest in peace, is one of the most iconic uh, singers of my generation, and people who don't know him, shame on you. You should. But that contains one of my absolute favorite songs of all time, which is "When Doves Cry." Love that song. I just wish that when I did karaoke, I could do it better. And the License to Ill album, "Fight for Your Right to Party" is absolutely one of my favorite songs. It's still catchy even to this day, and we have lost members of that band, and it's the most difficult thing. I love being in my 40s, but it's actually one of the more difficult things about reaching this age, where you get to the point where a lot of the great artists that you grew up with are just no longer with us. Everyone from Kurt Cobain to Luther Vandross, Barry White. I love Barry White's music, and of course Michael Jackson. You know, no matter what you think about the man and the controversies that surrounded him, no one can deny that that man was not a top drawer singer, dancer, and performer. He was an absolute fantastic performer, and there are those who have come close to approaching his level of skill, but never equal to, in my opinion. But okay, but that's about as best as I can go as far as explain the top three. There's just too many that just come too close that I couldn't say I love one more than the other. All right, but it's a good question. Uh, the next question, I'm actually going to do two questions from this next one. Stephanie Dolan, who is a very dear friend and someone who I care about, personally. She's a sweet, 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 sweet lady. She asks, "What is your ideal date?" As always, I've got two sides of my personality: the smartassy side and the serious side. The smartassy side says the date when she doesn't leave, or the date that ends up getting me laid. Sorry. All right. But on the serious side, my ideal date, uh, breakfast, which is so weird to some people, but it actually makes a lot of sense to me. Taking a woman out to breakfast serves many different advantages. And yeah, I'm letting loose, spoiler alert, whatever. But I think more people are more themselves at breakfast than they are at than dinner. Because when you see somebody in the morning, you're seeing them before all of life has heaped mounds and mounds of crap onto them, and you're basically seeing who they are at the beginning of their day, which is kind of important because if the relationship starts, eventually that information is going to come in extremely handy. Morning person, not morning person. She likes coffee. She likes juice. She likes to sleep in. She likes to be left the hell alone in the shower. Important stuff, right? But yeah, taking a woman out to breakfast is always the best start. And then I would like to then see how open minded she is. And the easiest way for me to do that is to take her to the mall where there's visible changes and see if she'll let me redo her hair color or put in highlights. A lot of people are very stingy about that sort of stuff, but it's fun, to turn a brunette blonde, to turn a blonde redhead, to turn a redheaded brunette. or a nice purple. Who knows? But but all that is a blast. And then of course, then lastly, go to Sephora, and I know all the people at Sephora, in my town. I mean, why not? There's sweet, sweet kids, and I would do a makeup makeover. Maybe learn something new. But the theme of everything that I try to do on a date revolves around getting to know her and at the same time still have fun. And I think it's a toss up. Round up miniature golf, or maybe just take a break for the rest of the day and then meet up with her in the evening. Because then at that point, if you go out to dinner or do karaoke or just hang out, you got stuff to talk about then, don't you? And that to me is always ideal. Okay. The last question also comes from Stephanie. She asks, "What is the nicest thing that a woman has ever done for me?" And we're going to go serious here for just a second, guys. I really don't have an answer to that question. Matt, this is a Q&A. You better have a freaking answer if there's going to be a question. It's very simple. When it comes to relationships, and I don't want to be all TMI here, to me, in every relationship, there has to be a balance between light and dark, good and bad, angry and happy, sad and passionate, all that stuff. And by virtue of the fact that I am single and not in a relationship right now, means that no matter what was done nice to me is a coin of absolute zero value because of something else that they did to wipe that out. And the reasons vary from person to person, whether it's infidelity, whether it's domestic violence. I know it's weird for a dude to talk about um, to talk about uh, a painful chapter when uh, then that I actually suffered abuse, and it's not something I really talk about. And I'm not going to go into details here, guys. I love you, but that's a little too personal. But my point is that no matter what the reason is, and the reason could also be very, very benign. We just weren't a good fit for each other. Maybe it was something that I did wrong. I'm certainly not perfect, not by any stretch. But my personal opinion is, so long as I don't cheat on you, so long as I don't hit you, so long as I do my very best to be there for you, and you in turn let me be there for you, there's no reason why a relationship can't endure. There just isn't. Everything else is just details, hollow, you know. But the nicest thing a woman's ever done for me. I'm still waiting for the day. And I believe in it because I believe that women, and I'm going to make a general broad statement about women right here. Women, like men, are inherently good. We're in a very cynical society, and not a lot of people believe that people are naturally good. People think that good is a choice. And I'm of the opposite opinion. I believe that people are good. They're fundamentally good, that if given the choice between being good and being bad, that being good has infinite more benefits to it, short term and long term, than being someone who doesn't share that philosophy. And but I think evil is a choice, and sadly it's an easy choice to make. And that's why more people these days are cynical and choose to believe in the to not believe really in human nature, that human beings as a species are generally barbaric and hateful and untrustworthy and vile slithering creatures, everyone. And I don't believe that. I believe that those who choose a dark path did so because they first chose a dark path. And just like those who are on a light path are, in my opinion, somewhat stronger because even though that road is rockier and there are more thorns cutting your feet, it is a journey worth making because of the kind of person you become, a person of strong character you become when you choose something a more difficult path. I've made my fair share of mistakes, and every time I've made a mistake, I can honestly say I made that mistake because it was an easier choice than a choice that would have provided more hardship, and that's my failing, and it's something that I have to live with. But I try to believe that I can learn and I can grow just like every other human being, and and that's what and that's where my hope and my faith lies. It's a day-to-day thing. It's a day-to-day choice. Okay. I always say I'm going to be serious for a moment, but that moment lasts like 5 freaking minutes. What the hell? All right. Anyway, I don't know that's not exactly the answer you were looking for, Stephanie, but I hope that it provided you some insight, the insight that you were looking for, regardless. Alrighty, guys. Well, that is it for this final episode of Monday Q&A. And guys, I'm interested in what you guys think. And if you have any questions or if you have any comments, if you have an opinion about this decision that I've made, go ahead and put them in the comments below. In the entire time I've been on my YouTube channel, I've had a total of 2, maybe 3 comments on my videos. And if you don't feel like you want to say anything, well then fine, don't. It's fine. I'm all about the choices, guys. So choose to do what you want to do. But as I've said many times in these videos, that this is something that I really want to pursue and get better at, and that's why I want to try and do things different every now and again. Try them out, okay? But one thing it's not going to change is the upcoming show for Kenyo Live on this Wednesday. If you guys have not seen that video, which a lot of you haven't, I've got quite a few subscribers, but I've only had 5 or 6 views from the last episode of Kenyo Live, and I take that as a personal failure. It means I did not create a good enough video to capture your interest, so I'll try to improve on that. If you have any suggestions of what I can do to help improve on those videos, again, put them in the comments below. But in the meantime, and in the between time, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, give it a liker. Every like, it helps the channel build and grow, and that is the goal. And of course, if you haven't already done so, if you're first time here, welcome. There's always going to be more content for you to see. Hit that subscribe button. We all like to subscribe to stuff, so let's subscribe. And of course, if I've given it an insight or opinion that you enjoy and something that you think somebody else could benefit from, share. All right? But that's it for me, guys. Keep the shadows at your feet and forever out of your heart. And I will see you on Wednesday for the episode of Kenyo Live. And as always, I love you. And I love every single one of you. And I thank you all for everyone who has given me continued and consistent support. I have deeply appreciated it. I'm absolutely in awe and love with you guys for that. Thank you. All right. Until next time. Latest.